Hi, my name is Farooq Mughal and I'm an assistant professor in strategy and organization at the School of Management, University of Bath, UK. But the best part is that I have an MBA from Greenwich University. I'm an alumni, a proud alumni. I also completed my BS in Information and Technology from Greenwich University. So an undergrad and an MBA just established myself, and I've had the very firm foundation to go off and pursue my dreams in the UK. I think it's an interesting journey because when I first started thinking about my career, it was as a youth in Pakistan, like any other youth, and I had millions of dreams to pursue. The best thing was that I had a lot of guidance, and I was lucky to have that guidance from my parents, from my brother, who were scholars and academics in their own fields. And I started thinking about what I should be doing with my life during my matriculation and my college days. I wanted to be a medical doctor, and I had a lot of dreams to be a doctor and to help a lot of people, but that just didn't materialize the way I wanted it to be. And I was then pulled off in different directions. There was an IT boom in Pakistan. It was late 90s, early 2000s. I then jumped into the field of IT. I heard that Greenwich University in Islamabad campus was offering undergrad programs in information technology, and I thought, well, here's an opportunity to do something with my life. I spent about 3 years doing my undergrad at Greenwich. It was the best time of my life. But during those 3 years, I think that there was a major shift in the industry of Pakistan. And when that shift happened, the IT bubble burst. And it became apparent that there will be a lot of struggle in this field. And the best way was to switch from IT to management, because management as a profession has always been growing. It's been there for thousands of years, and we're still studying it, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. Why are we still studying management when there are organizations all around us? If you look at pyramids of Egypt, we look at the Great Wall of China, they are amazing projects. Thousands of people have accomplished them. They were workers, they were managers, they were project managers, and those projects were completed on time. But I had this question: why study management? Why study organizations? The only thing that came into my mind is that it's not because the future of work is changing. It's not because if the world of work is changing. It's because more and more organizations are failing today. And I thought, here's an opportunity to get into a good business school, and Greenwich University was my first choice. And I started my MBA. I specialized in human resource management. I got a gold medal. I got a 4.0 GPA at Greenwich University. And I think that just set the right foundations. After that, a couple of years, I spent at another business school in Islamabad. I started teaching as an academic. After that, I got another opportunity to pursue foreign education at Lancaster University. And I think when I went to Lancaster, it was the right opportunity because it helped me understand that I need to ask the right questions to be in this field. When I started asking these right questions, it just opened a new horizon, a new way of looking at things. It was completely different to what I've experienced in life. That set the foundation. Then I did a very strong research project in human resource management. It was around organizational learning and development in particular. That just laid the foundation for my PhD, a doctorate in management learning and leadership. And after that, I just started pursuing my dreams in this field. I think it's an excellent question because it's very difficult to be an organizational sociologist. My main area of research within this field is I study power, or the interoperability of power in organizations. Now, what does that mean? Well, basically what that means is when I go into organizations, I look into how complex and messy these spaces are. And when I say complex and messy spaces, organizations are not neat and clean spaces which are reflected in organizational hierarchies and organograms. Somebody's at the top, two people are at the bottom, then you've got four people underneath them. Organizations don't work like a pyramid anymore. Organizations are far diverse, they're far complex. And when I go into organizations, my job is to study how are these relationships established? How do people accomplish work? And how do they accomplish work when there are very, very implicit and strong power relations? They can be anywhere. They can be here with us right now, between you and me, between your colleagues, or between my and colleagues and my boss. And how do these dynamics affect the way we work as individuals and organizations? So when I go into organization and I say, hey, I'm here to study power and politics, people run like cockroaches because nobody wants to talk about power. We embody power. We like to take it for granted because it is so sensitive that we don't want to talk about it. I always tell my students at the School of Management when I'm teaching courses like organizational studies, and when we talk about power, I say power is like Lord Voldemort, the antagonist from Harry Potter, he who must not be named. We know it's there, but we don't want to talk about it. So it is very difficult to be the person researching and studying power in organizations, or be the sociologist who comes and talks to you about your social relationships. It is quite a complex field, but I enjoy immensely doing that. Again, I think that's an excellent question because the future of Pakistan is bright. And when I say it's bright, I think it's bright because we have a truly unique culture. And culture is the basis for our diversification. But there is a problem here with our industry. There are global trends, which are westernizing ourselves, and then there are local trends, which we are completely forgetting day by day. George Ritzer in 2003, in his book called The McDonaldization of Society, talks about that we were stuck in a trance. We're not truly global. We're not truly local. We're glocal. And when we are glocal, it means we've embodied certain westernized thoughts in our daily lives. For example, in Pakistan, we talk in Urdu. But when we talk in Urdu, we're not actually talking in Urdu. How many words in our daily life do we use from the English language? And we use it unconsciously. It's because we aren't global, we aren't local. We can say we can dress Western, we can dress global. But then again, we've got these local values which are pushing us back. Do managers, do leaders in organizations realize that? That's a bigger question. We want things to be done in an international way. We want our international standards to be set right. But we aren't doing that completely. We are stuck in this trance. And for managers to understand that here's an opportunity to understand and make use of our local values and use them to actually make a name for ourselves. And those values are immensely important. And they are in every organizational dimension. They affect us in how we work. They affect us in how we lead. They affect us in how we manage. So we can say management has a number of different functions, but those functions are not our functions. They've been given to us. Do we give a second thought in how to transform them and making them Pakistani functions of management? Or do we think about what are the local functions of management? So here's a thought for managers to think about. What is our local culture? Are we proud of it? Do we celebrate our local culture? That's a bigger question. That's for them to answer. I've done many projects, and I think there are two projects at the moment which are really important. One is we're working with placement students from different business schools in the UK. We're looking into their journey from transitioning as students to becoming employees or workers in organization. Here's an important gap because there's not a lot of research or studies that are being undertaken when students leave the safety of their business schools and jump into the practicalities of real organizational life. How does that transition take place? What are the challenges those students face? Either when we're talking in business schools, and this is across the world, we look at students as students. When they graduate, we look at them as employees or employers or entrepreneurs. We don't know what happens in between. I think there's an important opportunity for us to understand how can we transform that informal learning that is happening during this gap period, and how can we formalize this and identify the challenges these students are facing when they are trying to transition as students into organizations. Our solution is that for the society in the UK, and this is not just limited to the UK, and Pakistan can embrace this as well. There needs to be a tripartite relationship between students, the business schools, and the employers to understand the identity formation of these students and this identity shift from a student to an employee. How does that transition take place? And if we unlock this transition, which we are calling the liminal identity, which means the space in between, if we figure out what's happening in the space in between, we can better prepare our graduates to take up important positions in organizations, to reduce the reality shock they face when they go into workplaces. It's not safe anymore. Like I said, organizations are complex, workplaces are complex. Are we preparing our students to embrace that complexity? Because world is not going to get any easier. Workplaces are not going to get any easier. It's competitive, it's intense. And are we actually preparing our students for that? And this is what we're doing in the UK. So we've got different business schools as partners on this program, and we're looking into these transitions. It is my belief that when we are transitioning, we are more open to learning, and we can gauge that learning. If we are not that transition can be from student to employer, from one job position to another job position, from a lower level position in a hierarchy to an upper level position. When we are transitioning, we are open to learning, even if we know it or not, if you recognize it or not. That is the point when business schools and employers must understand to really develop their programs and to really develop these individuals to embrace these complexities. My main inspiration is my father. He's been a brilliant academic. He's served his life in Pakistan to establish the education sector. I've seen him as a child, his principles, his discipline, and I can only wish that I can 1%, if there's an opportunity to embrace 1% of his principles, of his philosophy, of his ideology, I would think that would be a great success. And I don't think that I'm anywhere near where he was when he was at my age. But he's been a major role model, and I've seen him throughout my life, and I've always tried to enact what he's done. So he's basically been the main motivation, the main source for me. Believe it or not, there have been many challenges from day one. I remember the day I left my life in Pakistan, when I started pursuing a different career path. I think there were many hurdles, and I think the only thing that helped me get over these hurdles was the determination, the sheer motivation that I really had to prove myself. I really had to do something with my life, and to have such a great role model like my father, I think it was one motivation that I had to at least do something and to make him proud. And along the way, I was ill. I was hospitalized during my PhD. I lost a lot of faith in doing it, in completing it, and I thought that I would never be able to get over the line. And I think, and there was this dream of making them happy, my family, my parents, to make them happy, and I think it really helped me push me over the line. I think you need to ask my wife about that. But I think it's really difficult in this day and age where everything is so digital. We're living in a digital world, and when you're working as a Pakistani, as a non-Western in a Western society, you have an additional layer of identity work that you're trying to do. You're always trying to prove yourself. You're always trying to prove others that you're capable enough to walk alongside them, their visions, their ideologies, their philosophies. That is just too much pressure. What I normally do is I try to prioritize, I try to sequence my work events, I do everything, but there is an overlap, and I'm guilty of that. I bring work at home. I work at very odd times in the middle of the night, and I think that is one thing that I really need to work on to make that clear distinction where work ends and where personal life starts. But it's a continuing struggle. I think there are a lot of professional goals that I would like to achieve, but the one goal that I really want to achieve would be to be a really good son, to be a really good father, to be a really good husband, to be a really good sibling. I think that's my main goal. Other goals come and go, but this will stay consistent forever. I don't have any particular golden rule that I do follow. The only thing that I really want to that I do follow is to have some kind of discipline in life. If you have that discipline in life, it really helps us to achieve a lot. And the one thing that discipline really does is that it gives me motivation to be coherent, to be in sync with my goals. And when you walk, and when anyone walks, you can look at their feet and you can see how they're treading. If they have a purpose in life, their tread will be very different when they're taking that step. And that step could be, I want to see my family be happy. I want to pursue a really big goal in life. But I think that discipline is really important. That gives you purpose, that gives you motivation. I've had the most amazing time at Greenwich. I've had the most brilliant friends, fantastic teachers, fantastic colleagues during my Greenwich time. I think there are several moments that come to mind, but the most important, I think, was the time spent with friends. And that time spent with friends, I can give anything to go back in time to enjoy that, to experience that, not knowing what was in the future, not caring about what's tomorrow going to be like. It was just pure enjoyment with friendship. And this is my message to everyone as well. Enjoy your life as a student. Enjoy your life. This is the time. But you've got responsibility. Don't forget that. Enjoyment comes at a cost. You can enjoy, but enjoy within limits. No, I think I never thought where I was going to be. I had this crazy idea of being a medical doctor, but those dreams were crushed back when I was in college. When I stepped into the university life, it was a whole new chapter. We spoke a lot about a lot of things. Once I wanted to start a tele sales job at a firm in Islamabad, and it was to go into a call center and make those calls. But then I said, well, this is not who I want to be. I want to be someone really different. And during my conversations with my friends, and the best part was that I was the youngest in my friends' circle. And all of them were quite mature. And having mature friends was the key to my success. There are a lot of bad habits I could have picked that they picked, but they never really asked me to do it. And I think I was really lucky to have those best friends. One thing that I'm continuously doing and I'm still doing, it doesn't really matter if I'm working in the UK, I'm still doing a lot of projects in Pakistan. My research is in Pakistan. I believe that being in the UK, I can contribute to Pakistan more than I could have contributed being an academic here. It's because of the resources that I have there. We are putting in a lot of projects, research grants to bring that money into Pakistan. And I think one of the important messages that I'd like to give to everyone in Pakistan is that our thoughts are being colonized. Our thoughts are stuck. We need to open up our minds. There was this motto that I picked up, "Afala tatafakkarun," will you not think? And the irony is that we're not thinking anymore. We've stopped thinking. We stopped using our creative faculties, our creative abilities. We are living in a time of thought oppression. And my message is that we really need to think about the thoughts that enslave us. We really need to think outside of the box. And if we keep on being in this oppression, our creative abilities will only dissipate, they will only fade, they will disappear.